Of Investor Schooling or their guests and do not reflect the opinions of WPHT or Odyssey.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. This is Investor Schooling Live with your host, Larry Steinhouse, CEO of Investor Schooling.
All right, everybody, good morning and welcome to Investor Schooling Live. Hey, Investor Schooling Live is transmitting from the Investor Schooling Studios right here in the Investor Schooling headquarters. I am Larry Steinhouse, and I am the CEO of Investor Schooling. Hey, I want to thank you for listening in and get ready to learn real estate investing, stock options trading, and so many more things about money that I bet you didn't know. Hey, by the way, you can call us anytime. I love it when you guys call. I love the conversations you guys bring up. The phone number is 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137, 855-939-1137, 855-939-1137. Take out your phone right now and dial it, 855-939-1137, and you could ask me anything. We're a live program. It's Saturday morning, so if you guys know, it's Saturday morning because they do a repeat of this tomorrow, but it's Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. We are live, and you can call anytime during the show, and we'll take your calls. Hey, don't worry about the topics. We'll take your calls about anything that has to do with money, finances, or even politics. Hey, we're also live on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube, so say hi. I actually noticed that Glenn just said hi. He said hi on Facebook, so if you're on Facebook or LinkedIn and Twitter, say hi as well. At Investor Schooling, we teach real estate investing, stock options trading, how to save money and taxes, how to be financially free, and we even give you the motivation to make money work for you instead of you working for money. Investor Schooling is located in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, right off the Newtown Bypass, serving New Jersey and greater Philadelphia areas in a real brick-and-mortar building. Hey, our students are also located in several states with our exclusive web access to our classes and seminars. Get ready to learn something new. Get ready to learn the business of entrepreneurship, real estate investing, and stock options trading from your friendly neighborhood financial expert. That's me, Larry Steinhouse. So I have a special guest today. I got to tell you a story. So if you guys have been paying attention to the show lately, remember Dr. Deb was on here and she spoke a couple of weeks ago. She spoke about the guy who was the worst landlord, and we did the worst landlord presentation a while back about that as well. You're on camera. Move your thing away from your mouth. And we talked about this the last time we were here. It was Omri, we talked about him being the worst landlord. And he just happened to stop by this morning. And I said, hey, why don't you be on the show this morning? We can have a little bit of fun talking about you and talking about the things that you do. So first of all, listen, you guys are going to have to listen to him very carefully because he has an accent that no one can understand.
I think it's your accent, not mine.
No, it's definitely his accent.
It's my accent?
Oh, your accent is so difficult to understand.
Okay.
You can understand him now when he says one word, but wait till he gets into a whole sentence. But anyway, so Omri, I'm going to talk to you real quick. So we talked about you being the worst landlord, right?
Sure.
All right. So
there are worse terms that you can call.
There are
the ugliest student. Yeah.
There actually are much worse landlords than you. I have to say. But the reason I called you the worst landlord is because I gave you specific things to do, and what did you do? You didn't listen to anything I said to do, and sure enough, what happened? You got hurt, right?
Badly. During COVID, badly, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Uh-huh.
So tell me about that.
Ooh, do you want specific? Do you want to go story by story?
No, why don't you tell us about your favorite story?
My favorite story. So, my favorite story... I think my favorite story was with tenant beep in property
tenant beep. That's very funny.
Exactly. That I took in on March 5th, 2020.
Right. So this was right as COVID was about to hit.
I think we closed everything when? March 15?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, March 15. Yeah.
So, but wait a step back. You bought a property in Norristown because you have a lot of properties in Norristown.
Yes, correct.
Which is awesome.
Uh-huh.
And so you bought this property and you decided to put this tenant. You fixed up the property too, right?
I fixed up the property,
right.
And I was keen to put a tenant ASAP.
Right. And that's one of the biggest problems. So what you just said is one of the biggest problems landlords have.
Correct.
Right. They think, hey, if I don't get a tenant in here real fast, I'm going to lose money. I
will be poor. I need to get my money back fast.
And the problem is you lose so much money by picking the wrong tenant.
Correct.
So go ahead and continue your story. I'm sorry.
So I was keen to put someone ASAP. I put a huge sign on the building. I put maybe one ad online. 3-4 people arrived. I think after a week, I have something like 2, maybe 3 applications.
Okay.
And I took the best I could.
Now,
The best lies.
the best lies.
The best lies.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I chose
Right.
the person who lied the best.
Right.
And I collected the money.
Well, so you didn't collect the money.
So, so I did collected last, and I did collected the security deposit.
Right.
Because it was in still the beginning, but you can say the middle of the month. She promised to pay the first month by the end of the month, and she did. But after that, she
She
paid,
never paid again.
nothing.
And then she didn't pay the security, and she didn't pay the last month rent either, right?
She didn't pay anything beside the
Okay.
first, last, and security. Nothing.
Okay, she never paid you again. Okay, so hold on a second. Let's talk about this for a second. First of all, I want to say hello to Blake. Blake is listening. Blake is a handyman, and it's funny, he's been following me for a while. I've been watching him for a while. He's a very successful handyman. His name is Blake, and I think it's Handyman by Blake or something like that, but he's a really cool guy. He's listening on AirPods while he works. He just let us know on Facebook. So Blake is a pretty cool handyman. So anyway, getting back to your story, Armory. So you put this woman in, and you did collect the first month, last month in security?
Yes,
You collected all of it.
by the end of the first month,
Okay,
I had everything.
right.
And from that point on, I didn't receive anything. I received a lot of money coming from donations or from your taxes,
Right.
but I didn't receive anything from her,
So,
which is hysterical.
so
Now, I did a major mistake. A major mistake.
What's
and you
that?
know what was that?
I don't know yet.
No credit score,
Oh, you didn't do
no
a credit check?
history,
Okay.
no nothing. You know what I did? No, those are not my mistakes. My biggest mistake is that I didn't look at her court records. I didn't look at
yes.
her legal records.
Yes.
And her legal records was, oh my God, as long as the opinion matter between you and another Democrat. So it can't be so far. It was that crazy. It was that crazy. She got evicted, I think, 8 times in the last
She was evicted 8 times, and you took her as a tenant.
in the last 10 years. Yeah.
All right. So first of all, I want to take a step back because we teach real estate investing, and Army's been a friend for many years, and I've tried to teach him how to do the right thing, and he always, whatever I say to do, he kind of does his own thing. So one of the things that we teach people to do is to look at their court records.
Correct.
And the funny part was, I knew this, I taught you this, but you decided not to.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And you didn't look at the court records, and you didn't do it. So we have, actually, I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to give you guys a really great hint, a really great idea. So if you are a landlord and you want to look up court records, you could look up court records for anyone and everyone in Pennsylvania with an app on your phone.
Take your phone out right now and download
this
this
app, right, exactly.
And look for your kids, look for your wife,
Yeah.
look for whoever you want.
No, not your wife, your future wife. Because your wife, you're already married. If it's your future wife, you want to see how many times she's been arrested.
You never know.
Right, and same thing with the future husband, right?
Exactly.
But anyway, here's the app. It's called PA for Pennsylvania, PAE, right? E for electronic, doc.
Docket.
Dockets. Is it dockets or
Docket. P-A-E.
PAE doc?
Docket.
I think it's PAE docket, right? And you'll be able to look up all the court cases that somebody had. So you look up by last name and first name, and you can look up and you can see all the court cases. It's funny because I do this, and I discover many things about my tenants. I've discovered that my tenants have a lot of traffic tickets sometimes, and I'm like, it's probably not an issue for me as a landlord that they have a lot of traffic tickets, but I always question them on it because I was like, I want to make sure that, if the guy's got 10 traffic tickets.
Let's talk about that.
Well, hold on a second. If you got 10 traffic tickets, right, does that mean that he may lose his license and can't go to work? So that's why I want to look at stuff like that. I also want to see things like maybe a DUI, right? If the guy has a DUI, same issue. And maybe I'll discuss it with him because I've actually had that come up.
It will make you say to the tenant, I don't want you because you drink and drive. It will?
Well, it may not. Why would you say it would?
I'm asking you.
See,
I'm curious because when I see a lot of traffic tickets, for example, or parking tickets, meter was expired. I had a tenant recently, like all the history was expired meter, expired meter, expired meter.
Okay.
I honestly, when she came to see the place, I said, "Can I open your glove box and see how many paper you can put in a glove box and ignore them?"
Did you actually say that to her?
No, I wanted
Okay,
to.
okay.
I was so close.
Because I was going to say, why would you say that?
I was so close because it was. I was intrigued. I want to know what's going on, but at the end, I accepted her because
Yeah.
so
I don't have a problem with traffic tickets. I don't have a problem
Exactly.
with meter tickets.
so you don't pay your meter, right? But you do pay your rent. So I'm okay with that.
Right. You hope, right? You hope they pay their rent.
Yeah.
So here, right. And then you can look for other things too. So I'll tell you. So PAE dockets, it's the greatest way to look up to see if they've had landlord-tenant issues before, and it's really nice. I even use it better. I even use it better than the like if I'm using a credit check.
Yeah.
So I'll do a credit check, and we'll talk about that in a minute because I actually have not done credit checks ever, and I do it almost never, which is kind of funny. But let's talk about I'll look up PAE docs, and I'll want to see what the story is because tenants are going to lie to you, or they're going to over exaggerate or under exaggerate a situation.
Will you still meet them?
What if they have?
So let's say somebody calls you, they give you the name, you talk to them. What do you do for a living? Where do you live right now? Have you informed your current landlord that you are moving? All the questions that we know to ask. And then they give you the name, you look at the PAE docket, and you figure out, oh my God, will you still see them? Will you still let them come and see the place?
So here's the funny part.
Yeah?
You think I do all this stuff before I have them come see me, right? I don't do any of this until after they actually hand me a deposit.
I did the same thing. And now what's going on is, when I'm doing an open house, okay, I have 20 people on the first day, I have 15 people on the second day, and I have 10 people maybe on the third day. What happened here is you overflowed with so many people, so many applications because we don't have
Okay,
enough.
Once again, you do it your way.
Yeah.
And the way I will teach you how to do it, you won't have that problem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ask for applications.
No, I'm saying you open your house for so many people.
Right?
It make it harder for you to choose the right one.
No, it doesn't.
You sure?
Oh no.
Okay.
So I've been teaching you this, and you still don't want to listen. It amazes me that for years I keep teaching you stuff, and you don't listen. This is why when you come to investor schooling, and our class is expensive, right? They come to our class,
But they're the best.
And I teach you something, and you don't do it. It amazes me. So let me tell you my process for screening tenants, which is what I've told you over and over and over again. It's nothing like anyone else on the planet does. My process is completely different, okay? Because I told you I don't even do credit checks, right? Mm-hmm. You have to talk close to the microphone because what's going to happen is nobody's going to hear you. Okay, so here's what happens, right? So I get a phone call. Well, actually, it's usually on Facebook Marketplace now because it used to be I would put it like years ago. I mean, I started the same concept 30, 40 years ago, I guess, when I started investing in real estate. Oh, I can't believe I've been investing in real estate for 42 years. That amazes me. But okay, so 40 years ago, I would place an ad in the paper, and somebody would call me, and I would say, hey, first thing I would say, they would always do the same thing. They'd say, hey, tell me about the apartment. I'd say, yeah, it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, blah, 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 blah. And then I would say, when do you want to move in? Because my very first question is, when do you want to move in? Because I'm looking for the red flag of when they want to move in. The red flag of when they want to move in is, I can move in tomorrow. That's a major red flag to me. Now, it's really great for the landlord who goes, oh, I can't wait till I move in and I get a rent check.
It actually continues, yeah. It continues.
Right.
Where do you live right now? In the motel at the end of the street.
Yeah, right. Well, so that's the problem, right? So how can they possibly move in? So real quick, I just want to put the phone number out real quick again. 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137. We're discussing landlording, and actually it's a really good conversation to get into if you want to learn how to be either a landlord or if you are a landlord and you're having trouble.
Especially in this market.
I'm going to teach you how for 42 years I've had one eviction. 42 years! 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137. Okay, so getting back to you. So what I do, they'll call me up and they'll say, hey, tell me about the place. I go, great. I said, when can you move in? Now, I'm looking for 30 days or later. Now, you got to understand that stinks for me. 30 days or later stinks for me because I want the place, especially because it's empty, I want the place rented as soon as possible. But I want it rented to the right person as soon as possible. And
Of
even
course.
if the right person as soon as possible is a month away, that's still better than having the wrong person go in the next day. Okay, so I listen to the question. Now, they may say I can move in a week, and I don't doubt them. First, I say, how can you move in for a week from now? Now, there are good answers to this question. One is I'm separating from my husband, or I'm separating from my wife, and I need a place to live. That's a good answer. That makes sense to me, right? I have no problem with that one. I just want to find out more, just make sure that they're not,
Yeah.
that their credit is good and what's going on. That's fine. Okay, that's a good answer. I'm living with my parents, which is an okay answer. It's kind of a yellow flag answer because, all right, they've never...
Do you want to
they've-
see pay stubs? Do you want to see
Yeah,
how much they
yeah,
make? Because this
exactly.
is the first time.
Right.
You
But
don't
hold on.
want to be.
But hold on, because I want to get to here, right? So then I say, so that, assuming that they're, that they pass this litmus test, the next question is, I say, okay, great. I verify the rent. I say, okay, I just want to let you know the rent is $1,500 a month. I will need first month, last month, and 1 month security. That's $4,500 to move in. Is that okay with you? And then I listen. I already know that they've already know this done, but I want to hear them say, oh yeah, that's fine. Or sometimes they go, yeah, I think I can do that. That's already a red flag. I think I can do that. That's a red flag to me. So I'm listening very carefully, right? So
Many
then I say-
people, I'm sorry,
Sure,
but many
yeah.
people ask you, is it negotiable?
Yeah, no.
And I always say no. And some people say, why?
And I say, you know
So-
what? I immediately will say this isn't the place for you.
You say 42 years, right?
Yes,
You're in real estate 42 years. I will
Yes.
ask you a question.
sure.
Let's go 10 years ago. 10 years ago, if you would go and you would rent a place, because I'm renting myself right now, they will ask you 3 payments or it will be 2 payments or less.
Wait, say that one more time?
It's your accent or mine? It's your accent or my accent?
No, I didn't.
So
I didn't
42
follow you.
years. What happened 10 years ago, 15 years ago?
What about it?
You still had to pay 3 payments
First
in
month,
advance?
last month, and security.
Always.
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 When I rented in New Jersey, though,
Okay.
because New Jersey lets you do a month and a half security, so sometimes I would do 1 month plus 1 month and a half security, but I always took the maximum,
Me too.
right?
Me too. I can tell you that right now I'm renting in Langhorne here,
Mhm.
and I'm paying. I paid security and
Right.
first. That's it. They don't want the last.
That's fine because they're a big corporation.
Yeah.
I'm a little landlord with, whatever, with
The risk.
several dozens
I know.
and dozens of rentals, and I don't want to take the risk. I'm also looking for commitment. So if I get first month, last month, and 1 month security, I know these people are going to be able to do it. So I say that, and then they say okay, and then they'll say, hey, when can we see it? And this is where the most important pieces come up. Okay, so and we'll figure out a time. Let's say it's Saturday at 10:00. So Saturday at 10:00, which it is now. If you wanted to meet me, I'm not there because I'm on the radio, right? So I'll say Saturday at 10:00. So if I say Saturday at 10:00, that's great. I say, okay, listen, I'll meet you there Saturday at 10:00. Hey, just to let you know, I'm going there to see you specifically. Please call me if something comes up.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm going to run a credit check. Oh no, I'm sorry. I skipped something. I said, by the way, what I do is the first person to give me a $500 deposit gets the apartment. So make sure you're prepared with a $500 deposit. Also, I'm going to run a credit check. What am I
What
going to
will we
find?
find?
Okay. Remember I said I don't run credit checks? This question right here is my credit check. I'm going to run a credit check. What am I going to find? Now, most people at this point, I'm going to say that 42 years, over 90% have told the truth. Okay, so they're going to say anything like, oh, and this is where the conversation comes up. They go, well, my credit's not so good.
I'm building it right now.
Whatever they say. Okay, so still, remember, I'm still listening. I'm not
Sure.
saying goodbye. I'm still listening, okay? And I want to know what happened. Okay, why is your credit bad? Now, again, remember this person, we talked about this before. It might be somebody moving in right away who's getting divorced. Well, my husband didn't pay the bills and we're on the same credit cards. I'm listening. It may be an issue. And then depending on how bad they say it was, or I had a car repossessed, or I had a home repossessed, these are all problems.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say, listen, it might be that I'm going to need 2 months security. So just so you guys know, in Pennsylvania, you can take 2 months security.
But then not last.
No, you still can take last. Listen to me. See, this is why you don't listen. Okay, you can still take 2 months security. Okay, but you have to give 1 month back after 12 months of on-time payments. So if they pay their rent for 12 months on time and you have 2 months security, you have to give them the 1 month back.
So you can take 2 months and last and
Right.
first
Right.
legally.
Absolutely.
Amazing. I didn't know
Absolutely.
that.
But 2 months, but you're just gonna remember that you got to give the 1 month back.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So just keep that in mind.
And it has to be, if I'm not mistaken, in an interest building.
Well, so the security, only the security, not the last month.
Yeah.
The last month is not, that's considered rent. It's considered rent in advance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you need to understand that if you do a rent increase, let's say they stayed here for 5 years, and you do a rent increase, they've already paid their last month rent at the original rate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you could ask them for it, but I don't. You really shouldn't. I actually believe, because to me, that was the last month rent. So even if you got $1,500 for the last
doesn't
month,
matter,
and
of
that rent,
course.
the month before that, now they're at $1,700,
Imagine they were there for 1 year.
or whatever.
Exactly.
They're even if they're at $1,700 4 or 5 years later, they already paid their last month rent. When they give notice, fine, you paid your last month rent, and then they send them a letter about, okay. But anyway, getting back to this. So then, remember, I said $500 deposit. Okay, now the next person calls me. Hey, blah blah blah. We go through the same thing. $500 deposit. What's your credit score? Blah 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 blah. I say I'm showing it Saturday at 10 o'clock because the first person to call me, I determine the time. Now I want to get these people back to back. I want to get 5 or 6 people to show up at the rental at the same time. Every single one of them, I said the same thing, which was $500 deposit. First person to give me a $500 deposit gets the apartment, right? Actually, that's not even say that. I actually say I will take it off the market. I will run your credit, and then I say what am I gonna find? Okay, but so it's $500 deposit, and then I take it off the market. I run your credit, and if your credit passes, I give you all back. I keep, we use it towards your down payment, towards your deposit. Now they all show up. So 6 people show up, and 6 people aren't going to show up, right? How many show up? 3.
Wow.
Yeah. So if I book 6, 3 show up. I expect 3. And it's funny, and I book them all at the same time, all at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And they all come walking in the door.
Those times, more than 50% of the people showed up. Believe it or not. Amazing.
That's fine. But I expect half.
Okay.
So whatever happens. I get half the people that show up. Then they come in, right? And I say, yeah, walk around. I don't even show them the place. So walk around. If you have any questions, let me know.
Yeah, I do the same.
Because I don't even care, right? Sure enough, somebody comes up to me and goes, I'll take it. First person that says, I'll take it, and I say, great. I need a check for $500. And you know what they say? I didn't bring my checkbook. And you say, well, I told you to bring a checkbook. And I say, I don't know, you can go get it if you want to, but I don't know these other people, if somebody else takes it, they take it.
They run, if they want it, they will run to the ATM.
Right. I've seen people do that too. Or
Yeah.
they Venmo me, or they cash at me.
Of
Right
course.
there, they cash at me $500. But either way, I'm looking for the $500 deposit. Then, you ready for this? Then I hand them an application. They've already given me the $500. Now I hand them an application. Now, I also have so I hand them the application. By now, they're filling out the application. Everybody else is left. It's just me and them. So I hand them the application. I've got $500 deposit. How many applications have I run so far? I've only had one person fill out an application so far, which is the person who gave me the $500. Right? They give me the $500. I give them a piece of paper, which I call a contract to hold the apartment, which is basically a receipt for their $500.
You amazes me,
And tells them, see?
You
But I've been
amazes
teaching
me, and
you
I
this-
tell
I've
you,
been teaching you this for 3 years.
and I have a question for you.
Sure.
How many people in the last 42 years you have to give them back the $500?
One.
One person. Now I will ask you another question.
Sure.
What do you do if this person, the one person that give you the deposit first and commit to take the apartment, now don't take the apartment because they don't want it, because you decided they're not good enough?
I don't know if I
Because-
decided that good enough, that they get their money back right away.
How many people
Didn't move in.
you threw out of the door
Right.
because you took this one right now?
I didn't throw it. I don't care.
What do you mean?
I don't care whoever gives me the $500 deposit first. gets
10
the
people
apartment.
arrive.
Right.
10 people arrive. Maybe the other 9 would have been better.
Maybe.
But now you told them, I'm sorry, this place is occupied. It's done. I have a deposit from someone else.
That's right.
And now what happened to those 9s?
I don't know. I don't care.
I think you do.
I keep the number just in case. This guy
Exactly.
But I've never said no to these people. So just
Exactly.
understand, I've never said no to these people. So I've only one time I gave a deposit back. And actually, it was kind of a weird situation where I like knew there was something going on, and I said whatever. But it was one time in 42 years. So whoever I gave me the $500 is now the tenant. They give me an application. Then when they give me the application, I repeat everything again. And say, hey, whatever move-in date they have, I put it on the contract. This is stuff paperwork that we have in investor schooling that I teach and I give to people. So again, they hand me the application, and I say, listen, I said, don't forget, I'm going to run your credit tonight, and if there's no problem, you got it. I said, but I'll let you know within 24 hours. Am I going to run their credit?
No.
No. But I'm letting them know that. So I say one more time. I say, by the way, what am I going to find? Now remember, they've already told me.
So if they continue,
They've
you
already told me.
assume that their credit is okay.
Well, yeah, but hold on. They've already told me on the phone, and
Yeah.
I don't even remember. I don't even care.
Exactly.
And they're going to give me the same story, whatever that story was. Now, whatever that story was, now they may say again, and it maybe it's the person with the woman we talked, the example we talked about, who is moving out from her husband, and her husband crashed her
Divorce.
crashed her credit, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I look at her and I say, don't forget, if your credit's really bad, I might need 2 months security. And I look for an answer, and she says, no problem. Okay, what do you think I'm going to do?
You try to see if a wall will come in front of you.
What am I going to do? Have I accepted her?
I think so. Yeah.
How many months security do I want?
1.
No.
You will
2.
take the 2?
Of course.
Okay.
She just told me she has a credit problem. I don't need to look it up. She told me she has a credit problem.
So many people.
So I say, just remember, I will need 2 months. Now, I'm not going to tell her then. I'm going to call her in about 2 hours, and I'm going to say, hey, listen, just so you know, yeah, the stuff that you said in your credit was a problem. And I said, I just want to confirm that you can give me 2 months security. And they always say yes, and then we go for it.
My approach, and it's bad. From the beginning, you say, I say my approach, and immediately I see your eyes. But my approach is, I want the least amount of money in advance. I had a tenant.
I want as much as I can get.
No, I know. I had a tenant. Because if you look at it as passive income, you don't want to get a bunch of money and know that now for half a year I'm not going to get any money from this property.
Oh, you're talking about getting 6 months rent in advance.
I'm talking about anything. Even security, it's something I need
Security
to hold.
is not my money.
I know, it's not my money. I'm holding it, and sometimes I will use it, depend on how I will get my property back.
Well, when you get
So-
all right, so hold on. You're getting to the end where we're evicting somebody. So let's
No. I'm not talking about eviction.
okay,
When somebody leaves the apartment,
right,
if they don't clean their stove,
right,
if they leave me a dirty fridge, if I have a damaged floor,
sure,
if I have big holes in the walls, I'm using my security.
absolutely.
So, if I have a tenant that seems to be risky for me, I will take more security.
Okay, but you can't take more than 1 month security.
You can take 2.
You could take 2, but you got to understand, you got to give them the 1 month back after 12 months. That's the law.
You can take 1 second. You can take 2 payments. It can be 2 security or 1 security and last.
Why do you make stuff up?
What do you mean? That's
You're
the law.
making stuff up.
Okay.
Literally, 10 minutes ago, I just told you that's not true. You could take 2 months security and last month, or you could take 1 month security and last month.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
It's
no,
amazing.
I only said it 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, I know.
And you still go on with your own stuff. This is the problem with you, Amber. You don't listen. This is why you have problems.
I'm the worst
All
landlord.
right, hold on 1 second. I want to iterate something that I always teach, which is there are no such thing as bad tenants. There are only bad landlords.
Or worst.
No, there's no such thing as bad tenants. There's only bad landlords. Now, I'm going to give you my phone number one more time, 855-939-1137, 855-939-1137. You're listening to Investor Schooling Live. I'm Larry Steinhouse. The phone number is 855-939-1137, 855-939-1137. And Henry, our producer over at WPHT, will definitely take your call, and he'll put you through to me right away. It's 855-939-1137. But right now, we're going to take a break, and I'm going to come back with the worst landlord, and we're going to talk about it some more. So I'll see you guys in a couple minutes. This is Larry Steinhouse with Investor Schooling. Are you a today. InvestorSchooling.com.
Calling on Harleysville to follow 1210 WPHT in the free Odyssey app.
Download it now.
I know this music is perfect for the way you and I are arguing, man. It's a perfect music. All right, I'm Larry Steinhouse. Welcome back to Investor Schooling Live. I'm here with Omri, and Omri is a guest.
The worst landlord, not a worst landlord.
No, the worst landlord. Yes, I call him the worst landlord. And you know why he's the worst landlord? Not because he does things wrong, because he doesn't listen to me. I mean, we just had a 15-minute conversation, and he still didn't listen to me when I explained to him that you can take 2 months security as long as you give 1 month back.
Somebody online said that in New York, 3 months security some places.
Well,
I didn't know that.
So that's possible. I don't know if that's true or not, but it doesn't really matter. So here's another thing, right? So you said something before. Let's say the person said their credit is trashed. It's trashed. There's 400 credit score, right? Like a 400 credit score. But they say, listen, I'll give you 12 months rent in advance. Plus security. Are you taking that tenant?
Seem too desperate to me.
I'm taking that tenant.
Yeah?
They give me 12 months in advance, I'm taking a tenant.
Okay.
Now, I did it a couple of times. I had one, and this is interesting because you'll find this interesting. I had one say, can I give you half now and half 1 month from now? And I said, yes, but let me tell you what the lease said. And the lease was very specific. The lease said that 1 month, you give me 6 months now, and 6 months, let's say it was January 1st, where they give me 6 months rent on January 1st, and on February 1st, they give me the other 6 months rent, or they will be evicted.
So to me, when somebody say that, maybe they just inherit a lot of money.
Whatever. It doesn't
Maybe
matter.
they just, I don't know, maybe they broke their pension. Whatever they did, I don't care. A year from now, let's say I get 12 months in advance. A year from now, I bet they won't pay.
It's possible. It's possible. But I want to know the whole story.
I want to see someone. I have a tenant in Norristown that called me last Friday.
Is it a tenant, or is a current tenant, or is
It's
it
a
someone
current
who's-
tenant.
Okay.
And she called me last Friday, and she wanted to know the sewer bill. And I said, I think the sewer bill won't arrive until the 4th this month because of the holiday. Maybe the 3rd, the 4th. I want to see it. She said, how I'm going to add the sewer bill to the rent, because I want to pay you the rent now. I think it was December 29.
Okay.
Because on the 1st, the banks will be closed.
Okay.
That's responsibility to me.
That's extreme responsibility.
And I
Fantastic,
said,
yes.
don't worry about that. We'll pay the sewer next month.
Okay, good.
That's extreme responsibility.
That's fantastic.
When somebody
You're a
come
good
and say, take this money,
Right.
and I don't want to talk to you for a year now, and I don't want to pay you for a year now, that's what I hear. That's what I hear.
No,
I want to see consistent in payments.
So this is a very rare thing to happen, that somebody's credit score is really bad and they're going to give you 12 months rent.
Yeah.
It's very
No,
rare.
it's not.
It is not. It's
I
not for you?
I have these offers all the time.
Oh.
Not 12 months, 6 months.
No, 6 months is not the same as 12 months.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm talking about 12 months. 6 months, I might not take it either if their credit's that bad. But 12 months, I might take it. I've actually done it.
Or if they don't have a credit.
Well, they don't have credit, exactly.
So in Norristown,
But
I
if
have.
they have 12
Yeah.
months, that's fine.
In
But
Norristown,
anyway,
you have many of
so-
them that
so-
don't have credit.
So now let's go back, okay?
Yeah.
So let's go back. So now I've taken this application. I've
Mm-hmm.
taken $500, and in my head I've already approved them.
Have you ever took more than the $500? Have you ever said to them, give me first month right now?
So it's funny you say that. I've actually decided. I actually raised it to 1,000 now.
Okay.
So it's no longer 500 now. It's 1,000.
Because many people come with the 500 and wants the place.
No,
you want
not
to see how
because of that.
serious.
Not because of that. Because that's the seriousness. So you had said something, and just going back before, you had asked me a question: has anybody not shown up to move in? And the answer is yes. It's happened to me 3 times in 42 years.
East Norristown.
It happened. It did happen.
The
in
young
East Norristown.
couple.
Yeah,
I
it did,
remember them. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a non-refundable deposit.
Of course.
And they know it. And it says right under the it's a non-refundable deposit. So they called me 3 days later and said, listen, we found another place. We know we know it's non-refundable. Thank you very
Will
much.
you still
Would you-
agree?
They asked me if I refunded. I said no. I said it's not refundable. I said because I turned down the 9 people, like you said.
Of course.
The 9 people were there. So I don't know who I could have got that day. So I have to now rent it again. And whatever happens, happens. But they know it's not refundable. So it's happened to me 3 times. But it is what it is. That's fine with me. And it happens. It happens. It's gonna, at least I know that they're either not going to take it or they can't afford to take it or whatever the reason is. They can't move in. By the way, when they move in, they now have to give me the remainder of 1 month rent, last month's rent, and security
Yes.
in either certified funds, money orders, or cash.
Of course.
If they write me a check, I say you cannot move in until this check
Until
clears.
it clears, yeah.
And that's 21 days from now.
I don't receive checks anymore. I'm done.
Right.
I'm done.
Right. So
Yeah.
so they're told up front that it has to be checked. I also say another thing to them, and I've said this to you guys before. If you guys are a fan of the show, you've heard me say this before. Okay. Thank you, Ami, for your check. This is at the application. So I just want to let you know something up front. Rent is due on the 1st. On the 2nd, it's late. On the 5th, it's a $150 late fee.
If you're in the hospital,
And on the 15th, I file for eviction. Let me finish. On the 15th, I file for eviction. So, by the way, Army, just so you know, listen, if you're in the hospital, you get into a car accident, your grandmother died, please call me.
I will send you.
I will send you flowers, but I will still file for eviction.
Of course.
Do we understand each other? And I always say, do we understand each other? And I look them in the face, and I want to see what their expression is going to be. Now, it's very important that, they don't flinch, they don't wobble, they don't blink their eyes, go, huh? I actually had the funniest thing. I had this happen to me one time many, many years ago. Maybe it was 25, 30 years ago. Somebody looked at me and go, my last landlord didn't file for 2 months.
Bye.
I handed them their check back and I said, you're not the tenant for me.
Bye.
So just so you know, these are the things that I do. Now, and I've said this before too. So let's say now they move in, everything's great. They hand me their certified check, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm there that day. I walk around the place. I say, look how cool this is. Now I say, hand them a check. I say, hey, just want to remind you, rent's due on the 1st. On the 2nd, it's late.
Yeah.
On the 5th, it's a $150 late fee. And on the 15th, I file for eviction. Don't forget, if you're in the hospital, blah, 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 like I said before, and they actually start repeating it to me, which I love. They go, I know, you're going to send me flowers, but you're going to still file for eviction. I'm like, that's right. So, because it's funny, they always do. It's very funny when you actually hear them repeat it. And then I hand them the key and I leave. And I said, now, all right, so now I'm good. Now, hold on, we got actually somebody on the phone. It looks like Soli.
Amazing.
So Soli wants me to clarify my comment. Soli, you're on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, so go ahead. You want me to clarify my comment that there's no such thing as bad tenants, there's only bad landlords, right?
Right. Just elaborate a little further on that.
All right,
on
cool.
That
So
statement,
first
yes.
question I have for you, are you a landlord?
Yes, I am.
All right, cool. So tell me your worst tenant nightmare story.
I mean, my own personal is just that they left the house in like disarray. They had pets, and it was disgusting. I had to throw away because it was fully furnished. So I had to throw away some furniture, bring in additional cleaners to do a deeper cleaning. Like it was a nightmare.
So did this
But,
tenant pay
I
on
hear
time
other
now?
horror stories of the houses. I'm sorry?
Did this tenant pay
They
on
did,
time?
yes.
Okay.
They
Did you
pay on
allow
time, yes.
pets?
And their security deposit. Oh, wait, no. Okay, how about my other property? This tenant doesn't pay on time at all.
Right.
And it's to the point now that he actually owes more than what is left on his security deposit.
Okay, here's a question for you. How far behind are they?
Okay. As of right now, he's behind roughly 2 months, two or 3 months.
Have you filed for eviction yet?
Yeah. So in Florida, you file for eviction. You give, I think, a 3-day notice or something like that, and then if they make a payment, you have to do it over again. And then even if the payment's half of whatever the rent is, you have to keep filing it over and over again.
Really?
So
That's
we're going through
interesting.
the
I need to
process
find out
now,
more
yes.
about that. I don't have anything in Florida. I need to find out more about it. But let's go with this. Okay. So how many days late were they when you filed the first time?
They were, my gosh, we've been going through this cycle for like the last about month or so.
So I have to ask one
Hold
second.
on one second. I have a specific question now. How many days late were they when you
Okay.
filed for the first time?
Okay, so they were 60 days late.
Okay. There is no such thing as bad tenants.
yeah.
There are only bad landlords. And
Okay.
you were a bad landlord.
Okay.
And here's why you were a bad landlord.
Okay.
You're a bad landlord because on the 15th you file for eviction, and you have to tell them, and you have to
Right.
remind them. And like I said before, the conversation I have with them up front, rent's due on the 1st. On the 2nd, it's late. On the 5th, it's a $150 late fee, and on the 15th, I file for eviction. So invariably,
Right.
what's going to happen? Somebody's going to test you, and they always test you, right? They always test you, 'cause especially because I find it funny. The first month the rent comes in on the first, the second month it comes in on the third, and the third month it usually comes in maybe either on the fifth or the sixth. I kind of like it when it comes in on the sixth because, by the way, I go by the postmark. If they mail it or if it's Cash App or something like that, I go by that date only because it's only fair. I just to me it's fair. But okay, so let's say it's postmarked or Cash App says that it came in on the 6th. I immediately call them.
Okay.
I say you gave me the $1,500, but you forgot the $150 late fee. Oh, it was only one day late. What's the matter? Oh my gosh! Blah 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 blah. Well, I don't care what they say. I don't care. I don't care if the aliens landed in their backyard and they and restricted them from paying the rent, and they paid it on the 6th or even the 7th, right? So I don't care what they say.
Okay.
I say this is my next statement is listen. This is what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to waive it this time, but I'm telling you right now, I will never waive it again, ever. Do we understand each other? And they always say, oh yeah, thank you so much, blah blah blah. So what do you think they're going to do next month?
I'm going to pay it on time.
They're going to pay it late.
Again, I don't know.
Of course.
Because they now want to test me, right? So on the 6th, I call them up and say, remember when? I said, by the way, you didn't give me a late fee. Oh, yeah, blah, 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 whatever. I said, remember last month when I said I will never waive it again? I expect the late fee. And by the way, if you don't give me the late fee before the end of the month and you give me your rent next month, the first $150 of your rent
of course
goes towards the late fee,
of course,
not towards the rent. So the second month
now
will be late. You have to give me a
still
$300 late fee. Do you understand that? And then I explain it to them again, and guess
understand,
what?
yeah.
They get it. I get my late fee, and then rent's never late again. Just so you understand, no such thing as bad tenants, just bad landlords. A bad landlord files for eviction 60 days after they don't pay. A good landlord files 15 days or earlier. I'll tell you what. I've actually filed on the 10th sometimes, depending on how I feel about the 10th. But most of the time, it's a 15th.
Depending on the history with the tenant.
Yeah, history of the 10th. Yeah,
But
exactly.
I am amazed about this story because what it actually means that I can come, pay you $1, and then you need to file again.
Now, that's Florida, so I don't know if
It's
what you said is true.
crazy.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know if what you said is true. I'm not accepting the dollar. So if that's the truth, I'm not accepting
Yeah,
it. If
no,
they owe me,
so-
if they owe me $3,000 rent, I'm only accepting $3,000. I will hand them the check back. So sorry, I need the $3,000, or we go to court.
Amazing.
Right. It's through a system that he pays the rent through the system.
What's this?
So now we're able to just restrict him from the system. We work with property management company because it's out of state. It's in
all right.
Florida, where I'm in Jersey.
So here.
But the other
So by the way,
tenant, like I said, they just let the house rent direct.
there is one other bad thing besides bad landlords. There's bad property management companies.
Yeah,
And
for
I don't
sure.
know, yeah, and I don't know the
Right.
story
We all
with this one.
experience them.
But I would find out more about what they're saying being true or not true. But there are bad management companies. Now, I happen to have a bunch of my stuff in Lehigh Valley, and only the stuff in Lehigh Valley. I have a property manager in Lehigh Valley that runs my stuff in Lehigh Valley in Pennsylvania. Everything else I self-manage. And it's a long story why I hired this property manager. He actually came with the property that I bought, and I liked him so much that I kept him, and I bought more properties there because he's a property manager. But most of the time I self-manage, and the property manager is really, really good. But I got to tell you, he's not even as good as me. He's not as good as me.
Okay.
He'll let them go to 20, 25 days late. I'm like, and I will call him up and go, wait a minute, where's my rent? Oh, well, they blah, 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 blah. I said, listen, I told you I want you to file on the 15th, and he still doesn't do it. But it is what it is. He's a property manager. Let him do his thing, and he does his thing. So now, I have a question for you. Did I clarify the difference between bad landlords and bad tenants?
Yes.
All
I
right.
do want to
Yes,
tell
I
you
get it.
that I'm not sure how your lease ends, but if your lease is in automatic renew and you have this situation, the first thing you should do,
No.
the first thing you should do is to give the tenant a non-renewal notice. So the lease won't renew
Okay.
and you won't be stuck in this situation. Because regardless the money that they owe, even if you give them a non-renewal notice, they need to be out, regardless the money.
Do you understand what he's saying? He's saying that you can
Yeah,
evict
yeah.
them on just not renewing the lease, which is actually true. All right.
Right.
All right. So
Right,
so
yeah,
you're in
I
New
get it.
Jersey, Sully?
Yes.
I'm expecting you in my class Thursday night. Go to investorschooling.com. I'm expecting you to sign up and be there.
Yeah. I was in your class. My husband and I both were in your classes before, but I will be there again.
All right, yeah, you need to come back. You need to come back. You need to become a student because because I'm going to teach you how to never have this stuff happen again.
Okay.
All right. I appreciate the call. Thank you so
I will
much.
be there.
All right. If anybody
With
else,
bells on.
if anybody
Okay,
else,
thanks.
you got it. Thanks. All right. If anybody else wants to call, 855-939-1137, 855-939-1137, 855-939-1137, 855-939-1137. One more time, 855-939-1137.
What's the phone number?
855-939-1137. Are you going
Okay.
to call me?
Now, just now. Do you need these headphones or I can take it home? Do you
I
need
need
it? Can I take the headphones home with me?
You want to take the headphones home?
Can I?
Yes. You can take the headphones home. I don't know why you want them, but yes, you can take the headphones home. All right, so I was here with Omri Murad, and he's my good friend, and I don't know, special guest and whatever. But he's the landlord that doesn't listen because he's the worst landlord. And it's always fun to have stories with Omri because he talks about the mistakes he makes. Now, more and more often, he's doing it right because more and more often I yell at him.
Yeah.
He comes to me and he goes, "Oh, I just did this." I'm like, "Why would you do that? Why would you let that tenant in? Why would you blah, blah, blah?" I mean, I remember there was a couple of tenants you took, and as soon as you came back, you came to me the next day, and you said, "I took this tenant, this is your situation." I said, "Why did you take that tenant?" And sure enough, he ends up in court, he ends up with this problem, he ends up with the other problem. Ugh.
So I had in my history, yeah, you are much more experienced than I do, but I had 3 evictions. The third one, actually, I didn't need to be in eviction because she left. She understand that she have nothing to do.
Mm-hmm.
The first one was the amazing thing to me. The first one, she arrived to court. She fight it.
Of course.
The tenant.
She's a professional
She
tenant.
fight it. On the second hearing, the judge say, and the judge knew her, everybody knew her, I told you, the history in this court was as long as the way to the moon right now. And the judge said, I will be responsible that she will pay. I was amazed. I looked at that situation and I didn't know even what to do. So
The judge said he's responsible?
the judge said
And
he's
what did you say?
responsible.
Your
I
Honor,
left-
can I get that in writing?
I left the court.
Your Honor, can I get that in writing?
No, I left the court. I hired a
Right.
lawyer, and I forgot about this case. That's it. That easy, because you can't. You need to choose your battles,
Right.
and we know exactly what's going on. We know exactly what's going on in those areas, in those courts. We know exactly what's going on in Philadelphia. Do you want to talk about what's going on in
See,
Philadelphia?
First of all, there's 2 places to invest in the world.
Yeah,
One is Philadelphia, and one is everywhere else.
everywhere else.
And I choose everywhere else.
I know.
would go to Philadelphia, not because, and again, not because
Do you know what's the process right now in Philadelphia? Do you want to talk about the process?
I don't even want to talk about the process in Philadelphia. You know why?
You don't want to
'Cause I
cry.
will never rent to anybody in Philadelphia.
Okay.
I just won't. I'm just not going to do it.
Okay.
You know,
I have no properties in Philadelphia.
yeah, exactly.
But it amazes me
So
that
why-
things that starts in
So
Philadelphia.
how do you know the process?
Because I talked to many landlords.
Oh, don't talk to landlords.
Ooh.
Most of them don't have a clue.
Yeah, I know, but some. Yeah, we meet them here in the class
Yeah, I know,
sometimes.
and then we do the same thing we just did with Soli.
Of
and we tell
course.
them how it's all their fault.
Of course.
And they go, "Oh yeah, I guess I am a bad landlord." Yeah, you are a bad landlord. Now, I already know there's somebody's listening to this yelling at their radio right now, going, "You're wrong, bad tenants, blah 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 blah." Whatever the story is. Now, this is the thing: a bad tenant was trained by a bad landlord. And that's one of the problems you have to watch out for. So if so Omri's tenant, the one who took advantage of him, learned from all the other landlords how to make Omri's life miserable.
Of course.
And that's what I mean. There's no such thing as bad landlords. There's no such thing as bad tenants. There's only bad landlords. Now, I would have never in my life taken that tenant.
Of course.
How could she get past my screening? She would never get past my screening. And my screening is different than your screening. My screening is simple. My screening is PAE dockets and a conversation. And in that conversation, I always can find people who are bad tenants, or at least what I think is a bad tenant. So I don't have a problem with it at all. I make it work. Now I had one tenant, and it's funny because we were just talking about the one in East Norriton, and it's funny because I just had a bad tenant. Now, she wasn't a bad tenant. She started to go bad. And I got her out before she was bad. I got her out. She agreed to leave because of the conversation we had honor. All right, so real quick, let's talk to Anthony in Belmar. What's going on, Anthony?
Hey, Larry, how you doing? I love the show. This is an amazing topic.
Thanks, man.
So what I have going, I wanted your opinion about this. I inherited a really nice apartment house in the Passyunk Avenue Square District on Broad Street in 2005.
Okay.
And, first of all, I was a musician, and I didn't know nothing about renting, so I found out how to rent.
Right.
And, this is why, I got to tell you one thing. I thought musicians were bad. Man, I ran into some tenants. I could tell you stories for like hours, but the long story short is, I'm the kind of guy that I finally found good renters, and I would never raise their rent. And then the city of Philadelphia, as you know, started to act up. So basically, long story short, I was faced with a thing where I was thinking about selling the property or deciding whether to keep it. So what I decided to do was, a lot of people were saying, don't sell out of fear, because I was afraid of renting. I had 2 units open, and I was just afraid, with the city, of getting radical tenants that I didn't feel like having my place destroyed. So what I decided to do was I decided to keep the property, and I'm going to hire a property manager. And the guy seems really up and up.
How many units is it?
So I want to know what. It's actually 4, and it has a garage in the back.
Okay, and it's just in Philadelphia?
Yeah, it's right on Broad Street. If you're familiar with Passyunk Avenue Square,
that's right. So this property manager that you're hiring, be really careful with this. Is this a property management company, or is it just some guy going, "Hey, I'll manage your property"?
No. It's a property management company, and I actually found him through a landlord site where I go. They have forums and stuff, and he seems on the up and up. I had my lawyer check his contract, so I decided to keep the properties, and I just want to know your opinion about that, as opposed to selling it, which is a really bad time to sell now.
I do have a question for you.
It's not a bad time to sell. It's a great time to sell.
It's a great time to sell. But I do have a question. One of the things you said is you never raise the rent.
Yeah, exactly.
And I want to understand why you think it counts you as a good landlord, because you don't raise the rent?
No, because I'm the kind of person that when I have good people, and they pay on the first. I don't even have to tell them. The money's always there. And my way of thinking was, being I had good people, if I start raising the rents, I'm figuring, well, now I'm going to have to start chasing.
I understand. You are
pro.
You are pro, and you want to bring affordable housing. All good.
All right.
But one second. Your taxes.
We got 1 minute left.
Your taxes goes up, and your insurance goes up. And at that point, tomorrow you will need to do a big service.
All right, hold on.
Furnace, something.
We only have 45 seconds. All right, listen. So, Anthony, this is what I want you to do.
Sorry.
I want you to, first of all, come to Investor Schooling. Go to investorschooling.com.
We'll be happy to see you.
Because I'm going to teach you how to do this right. And if you want to bring the landlord, the management company with you, information, I'd be more than happy to look at your contract and look at your stuff. That's fine. Go to investorschooling.com. Sign up for the class this Thursday, and I will review it for you. My apologies. We're just out of time. And anytime you want to reach out.
I understand. Yeah, I should have called earlier.
No, that's all right. That's fine. All right, so we got 15 seconds. So I want to thank Omri for being my guest today.
Sure.
As the worst landlord. Actually, it was a really great show. Thank you so much. I also want to thank my producer, Henry Machette, over at WPHT. It's always awesome to have Henry up there. And don't forget, go to investorschooling.com and sign up for a class. See you Thursday.
Bye.
This program is paid for by Investor Schooling. All opinions or statements expressed on the program are so.
All right, Joe.
It was fun.